All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Thursday night. CP from Knicks Fan TV, my man Jay Ellis from Nick of Time Show. Special guest with us this evening, Jay Ellis.
Special. I
He's
got
a
an
hip
extra
hop
name.
pioneer, an
Sir.
icon, a legend, the originator, public enemy, humanitarian, rock and roll Hall of Famer, Knicks fan, Long Island's own. Chuck D in the building. Chuck, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm good, guys, man. I'm not an originator, man. I'm a process of evolution, not revolution. And as far as the culture and the music goes, man, but I am from New York, and I hail for that. Born in Queens, Strong Islander all my life, and here we go. Right. I'm usually
Absolutely.
on the other side, sitting on the other side, enjoying the entertainment of y'all, and you keep dragging me back here.
well, you know what, Chuck? Last time you were on the show, unfortunately, it was when Kobe passed, and it
Right,
seems like,
right.
and that was February of this year, and it seems like ever since that time, it's just been a lot of bad news going on in our world, and a
And the
lot of,
year's half over.
and it's half
See,
over.
it's half over. Like we at the
Yeah,
halftime mark. Like
Thanks.
what's going? How's the second half gonna happen in this
man,
game, in this
man.
contest?
Hopefully a lot better, but your voice has always been needed in these times and in these perilous times, and your leadership has always been well respected and well received. So as we endure this pandemic, COVID-19, and the civil unrest based on police brutality and the racial tension that's going on in the world. Let's talk about first how these things have been impacting you, your family, your career. What's been the impact of these recent events on you?
Well, the entertainment business has been leveled, but sports has really been like kind of like destroyed for
Yeah,
a second, because the whole idea of crowd was to find a venue and put as many in that venue as possible to enjoy whatever entertainment or engage itself into whatever entertainment happened to be in that facility. And those rules have been thrown out the window for the first time, I think, ever. It's like now you got to look at a place and say, well, the capacity can't be what it says. We're going to have to cut it in quarters. So that's as an occupation, as a in family, you tell all your family members to be alert, be mindful. And you're talking about a pecking order that's from the 80s, like my mom down to my youngest, so, in single digits. So this is a critical moment. It's also a teachable moment and a reachable moment. And unfortunately, we have a mysterious leadership
Yeah.
and its selected positions. And right about now, when you talked about the answer, starting off with the murder of George Floyd by the
Mhm.
police officers in Minneapolis, and then immediately we saw what a person publicly known as an athlete, right? We saw Steven Jackson say,
Yeah.
"This guy is
hmm
me," and I remember Steven Jackson coming out and said, "Listen, I, you, this can happen to anybody, and y'all ain't gonna take it half seriously when it starts happening to y'all too."
yeah,
Crazy.
And it struck Steven, and it seemed like from that point on, Steven says, "I'm going to do something about it." I reached out to Steven too. I know many people reached out because that was like somebody, that
Yeah.
was pretty much related bit by bit with him. And so what they didn't expect is that this would be a movement against the final tally on all these visible atrocities and the audacity of them to keep on happening.
yeah.
And also after the whole pandemic and people being able to be told to stay inside, and then all of a sudden that news gets fuzzy, and when everybody doesn't get an answer or whatever. And it was a tipping point, and the tipping point pointed like I make these analogies, and you guys know the analogies because you make them in sports and basketball speak. Golden State Warriors, strength in numbers, positionless basketball. the movement of younger energy turned into a leaderless movement going forward, and they couldn't point to one or two people. Mm-hmm. They had to say, yo, this is just a momentum that's carrying our attention. Yeah, and so this is something everybody was at attention, man, because everybody was forced to be at attention with the pandemic, first of all.
Yeah.
And the second thing is like, okay, there's some hypocrisy in that. And then this was the second thing that kind of came along, and everybody was focused on it. And this is the answer that came out of that. So, yeah, it's been impacted. It's impacted all. It's not a person in this country that can't say they've been impacted. Mm-hmm. And the whole world is looking at this country as being some sort of sideshow, a stage show. And I know I work half the year outside the country. I know the attitude from outside looking in for the last 4 years. Matter of fact, they start looking at you and saying, like, you got something to do with it. Like, yo, how y'all gonna let this dude become president? You like, yo, what the hell? Exactly. So everybody's on alert. It's a teachable moment. It's a reachable moment. And for young energies that immediately start looking at their local area and say, look, we don't know nothing about the national conversation, but we're going to take it right to our neighborhood and make some changes. Whether it's like we're going to address what police reform is, but it got to change down to like pulling down symbols. And I tell you, symbols are powerful, man, because let's put it in ball speak, JLs and C. If you're going to lock people up and make them pay the price, the average person comes up and says, well, why the hell y'all got the losing team up? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Confederacy is supposed to be a losing team. Right, exactly. Lost to the Union.
They were traitors, man.
Exactly.
Be hailing them up like dogs.
No, but it points to the construct of race and racism, white supremacy. It points to all these things, and you got to remove a lot of this cancer in order to say, all right, we're going to start new body up, new body forward. And younger people, which I think is the derogatory statement when you call younger adults the youth. They ain't the youth. You hit 18, it's man up, woman up time. But they already convinced younger adults that they ain't adults, and people in their mind think, oh yeah, I could probably get my crib for my family when I'm 47 years old. And I'm like, you got to train and mentor leadership at a young age, so somebody could say, I'm 25 and I'm a grown full man. But this society is really failed on social development. It's failed on administrative development, and they want to further it. And so whenever you see like an administration or a governing body of old heads trying to get in the way and compete with young energy and young people, you're going to have a problem, man. I mean, and I'll be brief on this point. You got a 75-year-old dude that's the president, right? He pulled the 3-card money game on the country, man, and fooled half of America, right? He ain't fooled New York.
We knew who he was. We already knew who he was. Yeah.
Hey, OG like me, I remember this. My beef is from Central Park 5. So
right. Come on.
It could be like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, if you're born in 1995, you might not know that. So these reminders come out, and this is why we document and say, hey, look, the dude might be whatever he does with whack casinos, half-ass celebrity, whatever, but he can't be president. You got to make that statement now. Let's say the guy running against him is 77 going to 78, right? And then the guy I like, right, as far as ideals and principles, dude is 79.
Yeah.
If you 20, if you 29, if you 51, there's no way the three of them are talking about the future, because math is real, man. You playing around. I mean, really, seriously, you playing around with 5 more years, and you don't know if you're gonna be there. So what future are you talking about? So right there is the first slap in your face hypocrisy. Young energy, I believe, is 40 to 65. I'm older than President Obama, bro, and we saw that President Obama put 16 years into 8. Because when the black guy gets a job in the white world, he's doing 8 times the job. And a black woman is doing 20 times the job. So that's what Joe Biden would probably do. Get Stacey Abrams, step on out, and then be like, you know what, I won, but Stacey Abrams going to do it, and I'll see y'all and catch your OG backseat
Need some young energy on the ticket.
Down.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yo, man, young energy gets the job done.
Yeah.
Young energy gets the job done, man. I think really, they're able to look at the job and say, okay, we're gonna go at it, and that's and right now this country is socially and politically inept, man, because it keeps leaning the hypocrisy towards the old heads who have no thought on what the future is.
True. Speaking of young energy, man, your style has always been politically charged and socially conscious. Where did that come from? Did you have that energy when you were younger and it's just still carrying with you today?
I was born in the dynamic, revealing 1960s, man. 1960, right? So this is my 60th year, born in 1960. Remember very clearly that decade, man. You had assassinations, you had Vietnam, Black Panther Party. We went from Negro on my birth certificate. Then we was colored for a couple of years. And I'm telling you, every time we saw Black people on TV around 66, 67, I was like, look, colored people's on. Colored people's on TV.
Oh, man.
And then by 67, 68, 69, we were Black Power, Black Panther Party. You know, James Brown culturally does one record that says, you know, say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud. And that was the final, tap point to it. So by 1969, the year the Mets and the Jets and the beginning of the Knicks' first championship year, Black was beautiful, baby. You know what I'm saying? And that was an important national statement that not only resonated of pride in the United States, but around the world. They all said, you know what? Black folks and people of color are making themselves known and felt for what they doing there. And everybody followed. That sense has atrophied, man. And they only look on the outside in, and they might see videos with cats throwing money at the camera. It's a United States of America arrogance that's poured to the rest of the world. So that's why they all scratching their head. But I come up out of that time. I had young, independent parents. They wasn't radical, but their kids ended up being radical. And their grandkids, man, oh my God. I mean, their grandkids, my kids was like front lines, man, of this movement. So
you have to believe that. Kids of Chuck D, I bet money they be in the front lines.
Yo, man, and they woman energy too. So I mean, what? So I mean, I'm just saying, I come up out of that where we were encouraged just to say, you walk in. I mean, my dad passed in 2016. He could go anywhere. I swore he was a warlock, man, because he could go in the middle of an adversarial meeting and have them eating out of his hand on some peace and love stuff. I said, you must be a warlock, dude, because I don't even see how you do it. Everybody loved my dad, man. So, I mean, they had the abilities to talk, counsel, no matter who you are. You walk in a room, it ain't got nothing to do with what you're making or whatever. And it was about the equal respect as human beings, man. And that's something to take serious. You don't look down at anybody. Nobody look down at you. That was a fabric of life that has to be instilled on a regular basis, and you don't take the gas off of that. You know, everybody wants to be able to be respected. So there's a lot of this push and pull that's going on because everybody's not kind of like, they're not privy to the same basics that used to just flying around. I mean, once upon a time, we used to call it common sense because it was common. But they've knocked the common off of sense. So it's either sense or nonsense. Now it's almost common nonsense. And that comes from the top, man. So, you know, it's something always to work on. Everybody always got to work on it. I mean, that's why ball is such a beautiful thing and talking about sports, because you don't get in life by not working at something and working at life. You know, life is going to come at you. You got to go at life, man. It's the gravity, man. And sometimes what comes at us triple fold is mid gravity that we got to really seriously be astute and battle against. So you need OGs to interpret and explain and also get up out of the way and be there. So at my age and stage, it's to guide, to counsel, consigliere, like they said in The Godfather. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, see me, boom, I put you out there, I ain't in your way, man. For example, CP, when you do the beard commercials, right? You know, that's
Scotch
the young
Porter.
man. Exactly. That's the young man's game. A gray beard is not in that realm, man. It's like a gray beard. It's like it's out of that.
Well, you can do the
man.
Just for Men, Chuck. You can do the Clyde.
Yeah, you can.
You
No
gotta
man.
call Clyde. Tell him to send you a box, man.
Yeah,
That's all right, man. Because one thing my parents did not raise me to be when I see them is be fake. My mom's would put the thumbprint to my face. Like, what is this? So I mean, to each their own, man.
Yeah.
I'm not crowding nobody's space. I'm just like saying it's a different thing. You got the black beard, you're young, you're vibrant, you got the energy. An old gray beard ain't in that league, man.
Yeah.
It's the old gray beard needs a different lane, man.
Different lane.
Cut it, keep it trimmed. Try not to turn into Grady from Sanford and Son to keep it moving.
Keep it moving, man. Yeah. We're talking to Chuck D. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. JL tonight's hashtag real easy. Hashtag PE to salute Chuck D and Public Enemy. You know, Chuck, I was looking at BET Awards. I'm cooking dinner. And to my surprise, my wife is like, hey, Chuck D's on, they're doing Fight the Power. So I'm watching. And I'm seeing you. I'm seeing Flav. Then I see Nas. I said, oh. And then I see Black Thought. I'm like, oh, my goodness. Almost burnt my food. But, you know.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, as I was telling you. But, you know, almost 30 years ago, the original Fight the Power, the soundtrack to Do the Right Thing.
No, I correct you. That's the second Fight the Power, brother. The first Fight the Power was when I was 15 years old, and it influenced me in 1975. People forget that, but it's up for us to remind people, said that's the second Fight the Power. The first one moved a lot of people. And since, you know, the biggest difference between, and I don't mean to cut you off, but the biggest difference between 1989 and 1975 is that there were people that were here who are no longer here. There's been people that have been born who are now here.
Right.
Those are the biggest differences in time, man. So these are constant reminders why you got to remind a society, and cultural reminders are sometimes the best. And they get people thinking, they get people moving. People have their selections. If you wanted to say about hip hop's responsibility, remember, I've taken everybody from Latifah to Too Short to you name it, right? And we always used to say a statement like, do what you got to do. We're going to bring everybody around, but always have a couple of drops for the hood, man. And the hood, I mean, I see a guy like Too Short who, you know what Too Short did and what he talks about, but we're like, you know, you don't change their game. You show them. And the next year, Too Short comes out in 1990 with The Ghetto, which is like a record that was like, oh my God. And that was the one drop for the hood. So that was the big difference in rap music and hip hop. There was always that one song that somebody would do outside their zone that everybody felt. Yeah. I mean, because everything's not synonymous with I'm gonna just be on some tip every time with every cut. No, it was, you know, there was always one that made you feel good. You know, like Ice Cube, man. You know, once upon a time in the hood, and then, you know, oh, well, today was a good day. You know, that's the counter of Dead Homies. So I'm saying that was the thought process, and Fight the Power, which, you know, as an extension to that answer I was telling you, you know, Fight the Power was the second Fight the Power. Does not become the Fight the Power that we know today unless you have a very bold, ambitious, eccentric Spike Lee that says, I'm going to put the song in the movie 25 times. I mean, who does that? So Spike always throws at me, you guys. I'm like, Spike, you threw the song in the movie 25 times, dog, for real. You helped make that, man. You know, so
yeah. Well, yeah,
so that's where that came from.
Yeah, well, I just thought it was interesting, you know, the theme of Do the Right Thing, you know, based on the racial tensions in Brooklyn and Radio Raheem being choked out by the police, and here you go 30 years later is similar issues, and was that what sparked you to do the remix with Nas, Black Thought, and Rhapsody?
No, I did it because it was an idea that everybody felt that was floating around, and they asked my blessings for it, and then I said, "Yeah, I mean, this is a teachable moment."
Yeah,
I would be on some diva-ish if I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not." It's like this is how the movement goes. You follow the movement, you flow in step with the movement. Um, Ringo Starr did a record. Ringo Starr, the Beatles. The Beatles is a group. No, let me stop. You got to explain everything in these times, but.
You got the millennials watching, Gen Z.
Yeah, right. he did a song called "Just a Little Help from My Friends." So that's what this Fight the Power is about. Questlove, who makes history every night, him and Black Thought with the Roots, with Jimmy Fallon, they're the band, and that's significant. So when Questlove presses a button and said, "I want to do this," and he said, boom, we all fall in line. Man. We are a union that's been unofficial too long, but a union nonetheless. And this was the call culturally. In them to be shaken to the lights all the time in order for you to have a vested interest in them. We need, quote unquote, boring people. We need a dentist that works in your grill to have kind of like no kind of social appeal. All this person does is do a great job on dentistry. And you got to salute that. So not everybody needs to have this extra, everybody ain't got no camera on them, although they got a camera on them, but you don't have a camera on you. So everybody has a role and place to play in society, and we got to be the people to salute that. And if we got a lot of light, I always thought that the best light I could be is be a prism. You know what a prism does? It's like those crystals. Yeah. The lights come in and they go out. That's the job of a celebrity, especially hip hop is really good at it when it works at it. So.
Absolutely, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We got the icon.
Yeah, man, 20,000.
20,000. 20,000.
You guys could fill the garden by yourselves.
Absolutely. And you had mentioned the athletes. You mentioned Steven Jackson and his role in raising awareness and in the activism lane. Back in your time, when you mentioned the 60s, you also had John Carlos, Tommy Smith. Obviously, you had the global icon in Ali and all the things that he endured. You had Kareem, you had Jim Brown and so on. Today's age, you have Kaepernick and all of that he's gone through. Now everybody's taking a knee. LeBron has sort of, looking for his lane. He's starting his school. He's starting his voter initiatives as well. But you also have Maya Moore, who, at the prime age of 28, the best female athlete in the world, put that all on the side to free her friend who was wrongfully incarcerated and did like 2 decades in jail. What do you think about today's athletes and how they're using their platform for activism and to affect change?
They're unbelievable, man. They come no better than LeBron, man. When you're the top of the game and you actually going to make a statement that some people might feel like it might ruffle some feathers even all the way to the top, that means you're looking out for more than yourself. And I think out of the 60s, understand, entertainers and athletes, they did not start movements. They had to be in line of the movement. Mm-hmm. Kwame Ture, the great Kwame Ture, a.k.a. Stokely Carmichael, told me, he said, yeah, James Brown made that song, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, but, for 2 years, we was on his ass. So the entertainers and the athletes that had a little bit of spotlight, they had people right behind them says, yo, you gotta drop one for everybody else that ain't gonna get on TV. Mm. And it was always a concentrated effort that your gains in society wasn't something that you wear on your chest and show it off to everybody. Mm. That wasn't going to bode well either. Kind of like, nobody say you can't have what you can't have, but come on, man. In a face of people in a very desperate time, you gotta bubble under, man. You gotta bubble under and go do an acting job, man, if you got to, in order to fit in with the people. But if you had, back then in the 60s, we had this amount of time to get exposure. Like I told you, if you saw Black people on TV, that was a big, big thing. We only got 5 TV channels in New York. So I mean, and then you don't take it for granted, man. When in the last years of his life, man, being invited to Gil Noble's show. He had a show called Like It Is in the 70s.
Yeah.
Where they would have to have these shows after the forward movements of the 60s and 70s. They say, all right, we got our airways. You can come to us, and we got a little bit of real estate for you to get your word across. And these people made inroads, and generations come and generations go. The generation that fought for it, and then the generation that relished in it, they move on and they transition out. The next generation might not have paid attention to it. And then it fades out as people transition on. So it's always a constant reminder that you need new blood, making new statements, and being able to say, listen, I'm here in this present to be present, and also to be able to put my foot forward when everybody else can't do it. So big up to a lot of the athletes out there, not only in the visible sports of football and basketball, but in baseball. I wear the P hat because of Roberto Clemente. And when I wore it because I was a baseball fan. I'm aware of the P hat. They started making the black, bringing back the black P hats with the yellow P. And I wore that because I said Roberto Clemente is my hero. A lot of cats started wearing it afterwards. I didn't know what they meant by wearing it. I saw Diddy wear it once. I said, do you really kind of know what this means, bro? But yeah, I mean, you make statements. This is why symbols move us forward. Also, symbols can be derogatory if you don't know the meaning. So it's best to have these interpretations out there, and then curators. And that's why I look at you guys. You guys are curators of the craft of basketball. You guys have a conversation that will actually mix the game and also, social connotations. They go hand in hand, man, because everybody's involved. Everybody's intertwined. Everybody's intertwined. You might see black ball players, but everybody's invested in looking at this. And you know what? This is the thing about the United States of America. Mm-hmm. It falls short when it says it can't learn from black folks, only except for ball and music and stuff like that. You can learn from anybody. Mm-hmm. And that's when this place is at its best, when somebody can sit down and say, you know what, no matter what you are, I'll cover my eyes up and I can learn something from you. This country has yet to come to that passage where they could just say, I could learn from right. these people. I could learn from this community. It's a lot better than it was because before it was all like this. No, I can't learn nothing. I can't. I can't. I don't even know nothing about it. But now, at least with this movement came about, people say, you know what? I already kind of know this. I want to build on it. And I don't know this about them, but I want to know because really everybody's in this box together, man.
For that conversation, absolutely. For sure.
Yeah, they've learned from us. They just don't admit they learned from us, but that's a whole other story. I'm not even.
Well, I mean, that's an honest thing, man, because we as black folks, you got to admit who you learn from. I mean, the person who, to me, I don't think he was a racially conscious dude at all, but he found a liking to me in high school. When I was in high school in 1976, I was a kind of a radical student, but this dude from that world, and I'm from my world, and he took me under his wing, and everybody was bugging out. He said, you must have been the teacher's pet. I was great in architecture. I was great in design. And I was kind of failing, but he kind of said, yo, man, you could do way better than what you're doing. And people were bugging out on our relationship, man. But you see the same thing also with coaches and ball players in the NBA. And that rubs off on a lot of people. We just don't have a lot of things in society that we could make these comparative analysis and say just could galvanize you in your life at your job, that you can learn from anybody and some people can learn from you too. It's not really easily explained, man. And life is to actually know that you can learn from somebody and also teach somebody after you learn.
Absolutely. And speaking of coaches and relationships and things of that nature, you've been a Knicks fan through many phases.
He's an OG, J. Ellis. He's seen it all.
67.
He's seen all the good things there is to see, man. He's seen it all.
You've seen them. You've seen it all.
There we go. George Kalinsky.
George Kalinsky, right?
Yeah,
man. I've had this book a long time. It's dog eared. How about this?
Older than me.
This is my man.
Earl the Pearl. There it is.
Exactly.
The Pearl he said, Chuck, can you do a blurb for my book?
Nice.
You gotta understand, these are heroes, man, and we spoke through culture and music, and entertainment and sports, because that was the obvious voice. I mean, I had the best father in the world. He's the king of kings. Outside of that, I found other people that I could also add in and compliment in there. So that was a beautiful thing. So seeing the heroes like later on, Kareem befriended by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Dr. J, Earl the Pearl, George Gervin, all these guys that rappers named themselves after, like Ice Cube named himself after George Gervin. Dr. Dre.
Iceman.
Yeah, both Dr. Dre's named themselves after Dr. J.
Yeah.
Earl the Pearl was in rhymes in the early 1980s, man, the late 70s, man. Earl the Pearl was in everybody's rhyme, man.
Dope.
Dr. J was in rhymes. So, later on, Daryl Dawkins comes out. He takes P-Funk. He starts rhyming. And so the interplay was ridiculous, man. But my thing back with the Knicks, I'm from New York, man. My father's a Knicks fan. My father's a Met fan. My father also is a Jet fan. Why was he a Met fan and not a Yankee fan? I tell people all the time, not in my house. Because let me tell you, my father was like, yo, Yankees was next to the last team that put black people on the team. I was like,
That's
whoa.
right. That's
and
it.
my father would tell me at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, he says, oh yeah, by the way, yeah, they had Vic Power in the minor leagues. They didn't even want to bring them up, man. And it's like the Red Sox really ain't getting no love from me. So this is why I rarely ever order Yankee, but I let it go. Things change. But when you give them the information on why is what as a fan, it's to the point. So I've been a Knicks fan since '67. I cried when we lost to the Celtics. I didn't understand, but I really cried this is where I really cried, because later on I kind of got it more. I didn't take the championship. We got the championship, but I really have enough pain invested in as a 9-year-old. But I got it the next year because I thought the Knicks were going to win, and we lost to the Bullets. And John Tresvant in Game 7, man, killed us, man. And Bradley missed a last-minute shot. Bradley missed a shot, and I was like, I couldn't believe it, man, because, we're going to get the chip again, right? Because the Knicks were going to face the Bucks, and the Knicks were beating the Bucks up all year long, and the Bucks faced the Bullets, who beat the Knicks, and they swept them 4-0. So I was like, damn, that chip could have been ours.
Opportunity
2 in a
lost.
row. And you can look it up, John Tresvant. So when I actually mentioned it to the Pearl, he's like, start there. Earl was like, oh man, my man John.
So who was your favorite player back then for the Knicks?
Willis Reed, no question,
the captain.
man.
Yeah,
the captain. And then Walt Frazier, come on, man. Yeah, it was just amazing growing. And then the best thing ever, right, was a book called The Open Man I read in 5th grade. And it was a day-to-day diary. I think Dave DeBusschere and Dick Shapp. And they gave you the day-to-day diary on behind the scenes with the Knicks. And that's the best book ever, man. Best book ever for a kid, man. So
the
that
legendary
really
Dick
hooked
Shapp.
me in it. Yeah, man, that really locked me into the Knicks, man. Dave DeBusschere, Bill Bradley, come on, man. Dick Barnett, fall back, baby.
Fall back,
I mean,
baby.
we've never seen a jumper like that since, man. Yeah, so man. So talking about the Knicks, I'm not a person that just talks about back in the day. I like these times because of the energy, man. The leadership is suspect because they seem not to pick the right guys for the city.
Yeah.
New York is a melter, man. It will melt you, man. You
Microwave.
come soft to New York, microwave square garden, y'all. So you come in, man, the scopes is on you, and the scopes is bigger than ever before. You got social media.
True.
New York was social media before social media. You know what I'm saying?
That's
now
it.
put social media on top of New York. It's another planet, man. So they get burnt up, man, like caterpillars in the sun with magnifying glass.
It's tough, Chuck. It's tough, man.
It's tough, man. But no, I feel y'all's pain, man. Every day I watch y'all on TV. I'm like, man, I feel for these young guys, man. Because it's been, listen, man. Let's do the math. I was 12, right, when we won the chip, man. I'm turning 60 this year, so we got Cubs stories, man. We got Cubs stories.
You know what, Chuck? But that's why I had to embrace the Yankees. I had to embrace the Giants, at least to see some sort of championship. I'm not sure if it's going to happen for us. But at the same time, I love the community that we're building here with Knicks fan TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 20,000 deep. When I was coming up, man, let me tell you, I'm a Mets fan. My boy who lives around the corner, he a Yankee fan. You know, Reggie Jackson, Nettles, all the whole nine, right? So he rubbing it in my face until 86. And all my Giant homies I grew up with, I mean, they win a chip. Like the Giants win a chip every 8 years, man. And I'm like, damn, man, I've been waiting since 69, man, for the Jets, man. So, I mean, you know, but it's what it is. So that's the beautiful thing about sports in New York, man. We agree to disagree. Yep. And the absence of sports right about now across the map, it's hurting because it's a welcome distraction.
Yeah.
And it's a teaching vehicle to make you look at sports and also apply certain things to your life. You ain't getting nowhere without work. Very few times you're gonna be a phenom and just phenom yourself through life. That's impossible, man. You just get, I'm a phenom, I'm blessed, I'm a phenom myself through life. WORK. That's the thing that works. And in the rap field, man, used to tell people all the time. I said, "Listen, yo, dog. I mean, you tell me what you want, but if you ain't got no words, I mean, how you gonna spit the best you could spit? You can't rhyme in circles. I mean, it might be something where a corporation salutes you, but you ain't rhyming in circles, man. You do it 5 years the most. You know, I'm going on my 87 to 2020, and whether we still at home or not, 116 countries. I played to 4 million people the last 4 years. Prophets of Rage, a super group. Now, if you don't know, it don't mean that, doesn't mean that it didn't happen. I tell people all the time, it ain't new just because you never knew.
Right.
I mean, we had a fruitful existence, and to make a record for me and Flavor and call a Primo to get on, it's easy, man. That's just easy. I mean, and that's the uniform and that's the ball. Your game got to play with the song that you got, and you got to be able to get it across, make it mean something. Yep, you got to deliver, man.
Yeah,
I mean, having a song that's popping off. I tell people all the time, that's fantastic. That's wonderful. That's okay, fantastic. That's like having a great handle. You still got to get to the hoop.
You still got to get to the hoop,
bro, and play some D, and play some D too. You got to start backpedaling against what's coming at you. So to do it over and over and over again, I'm blessed to be able to control I control my narrative, man. I control my narrative from day one because as an MC, understand this, and 99% of all artists, recording artists and MCs never had my story. Rick Rubin chased me down for 2 years to get me to do records. Understand that? I got dragged into rap by the Beastie Boys, Run DMC, and Rick Rubin to do records. But I wasn't going to have that happen without my posse. That's why I say, Yo Bum Rush the Show is when we all come in. Hank Shockley, Flavor Flav, Dre from Yo MTV Raps, Professor Griff, Bill Stephanie. We all came in as one out of Long Island because we said, strength in numbers, man. We the original strength in numbers dudes, And then later on, even more obscure place like Staten Island. Did I say that?
No shade to Shaolin, man. Big up Wu-Tang, man.
But that's what I'm saying. Wu-Tang put Staten Island really on the map. We had, Force and D's, and they had to take the ferry to south of Manhattan, and a very strong borough that usually kept people out of there. It's like, you know what, Staten Island's gonna be there, but they're gonna control who get in there and who get out. But Wu-Tang came in and opened it up to the world, so they turned Staten Island into Shaolin. They know to come out of these places like Long Island and Staten Island that you have to come in strength in numbers. So that's been my whole philosophy. Even when I watch sports, I was wondering, like, damn, if the Golden State Warriors could play like that, how come the Knicks can't play like that? Strength in numbers. So maybe that's just be something that we look at. And you know what? The Knicks can't be bringing in more than 3 or 4 pretty players at a time, man. New York,
we need dogs, Chuck. We need some dogs in here, man.
It's like, man, it's like Pat Riley, man. Who listen? I grew up with Red Holzman. Pat Riley, man, was to me as a Knicks fan. he delivered my most heartfelt, as I feel, years ever. He brought, and everybody thought that he gonna bring LA and Showtime. They didn't do their research. Pat Riley is hardcore, upstate, ugly ass Schenectady, man. You know what I'm saying? Schenectady. You ever been to Schenectady on a cloudy day, man? Really? For real.
Nothing but despair out there, man.
Amsterdam, New York, man. Come on, man. So he knew how to really come down in the downstate New York and pick up a star. Galvanizer Starks, who got picked up the year before.
Yep.
Anthony Mason. Come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oak. Yeah. Galvanized Oak. Even guys like Anthony Bonner he would bring in. And it'd be like, yo, it's going to be a problem. X-Man. It was a fantastic interview. Watching the X-Man.
Yeah.
Warmed my heart, man. I said X-Man. Because when the X-Men, I don't cry as a grown man for too much stuff, but man, when X-Men left, I was the tears, man. I was the tears. I said, this can't happen, man. Because you know what? For the longest, I said Jordan. That was Jordan, man, that did that, man. He had to be, Jordan had to orchestrate the X-Men leaving. That's what I was thinking all the time, man.
Did it to Isaiah? Did it to X-Men? He did it to
yeah, man. But it's different because Detroit Pistons and all my people in Detroit, man. They were my surrogate team if we didn't do it. So, I have family in Detroit and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and all the Piston dudes, we all know each other. So, Zeke, John Sally from Canarsie, they were all man, they were always Bring the Noise was their theme record, man, before Can't Touch This. So I was like, you're gonna play my song, man.
That's your team, right?
But then that was a saying in the Midwest. They said, yeah, man, I'm about to bring the noise on you, and they got it from us because I don't know how I just made that up. And then they became a saying. They claimed it. Yeah, Detroit Pistons gonna bring the noise, man. So it was, and also guys on the Bulls, man. I always worked with them in Chicago, like Craig Hodges, Scott Williams. Those cats, man, BJ Armstrong, those guys kind of worked in the hood. So, they had MJ's back, you know what I'm saying? MJ wasn't going to bring that Lamborghini to Cabrini Green.
Yeah. So, he had a supporting cast, man.
Yeah, he had a supporting cast, and that's what teamwork is about.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We're talking to the icon, Chuck D. Throw a hashtag PE in the chat. Chuck,
man, my seat is worn out, man. CNN, TMZ, and all, but I'm with my guys, so I
appreciate it.
This is warm, man.
Definitely appreciate it. Appreciate all the support you've been showing us, man.
I'm the OG. Like when they tell an OG to sit down, I'm that dude. Not only would I sit down, I'm gonna hammock it in the back. But at the age I am, if I can't teach, I shouldn't open my mouth to speak. So I keep it like that. Keep it real like that.
All love, man. But before rhyming, Chuck, the visual arts. Graphic design, that was really your first love. And I, when we talked about over the season, the Knicks jersey, how much it has fallen off. And we coined the Dollar Tree jersey. It's got to go, Chuck. They took away the arts.
It's not the Dollar Tree jersey. It's the Dollar Tree font.
The font.
JL's got that artistic background. He just enlightened me on too. He knows what I mean by that. Yeah, I know like Dollar Tree font, man. You went and got some press up letters and you tacked them on the uniform. Listen, man, you're dealing with 6'5" and 7 footers. You can deal with fonts that arc, man. It's tall. It's fashion statement, man.
Yeah,
you don't make a 7 footer look like he's 5'2", man. They got the Muggsy Bogues font up on there, man. It's like, these are big dudes, man.
It's terrible. Right. So terrible, in the quickness, you and I were talking about the history of the jersey and what were kind of some of your favorite designs, and you went ahead and made some custom mock-ups, man. What you think about these?
Yeah, well, you gonna show them up there?
I got them up. Yeah.
Okay, because I can't see them on your screen, but I already made them. So I would say that, listen, whoever does the Knicks alternative uniforms, they on point. Their alternative jerseys are on point.
Yeah.
They're home and away with the New York thing. Everything is right except for the font. Who came up with that?
Gotta change it. I don't know why they changed it, man. I don't know
know,
why they
man.
changed.
No knock on Dollar Tree unless y'all give us stock. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
right.
It's like Trump for president said, dude, we ain't saying you got to go home, but you got to come out of here. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what they were doing with it, man. But I love the sketches you made. Very on point. The ones you did for me, I went with the all black look. The fan base has been looking for the black design, so that's the one I went with the blue down the side, and I like the 64, the round ball logo, the rounder logo that they had. I wasn't really feeling the triangle one's all right. But I like the old one that they were rocking back in the 70s time. And even when Ewan first got there, early 80s, they still had that round ball look, man.
Right. The uniforms, if we want to talk modern days, the uniforms that they had from 97 to 2003 were the best as they could possibly be. Great combination of black, orange, blue, white popping off the letters, man. Perfectly arced, man. You're dealing with two words, New York. You're not dealing like with, Indiana, which you might be able to do, you might be able to do the Muggsy Bogues font, man. But really, New York, man. New York is big, man. It's like New York. I mean, you got to say New York like that, too. New York. You
got to make it
New York. New York. There's some bass in that voice.
Exactly.
Really. And listen, man. People are like, man, I thought you from Long Island. My mother and my father, born and raised on 151st Street between Broadway and Amsterdam.
There you go.
That ain't New York, man. What?
City been in your blood, man.
City been in my blood. I mean, the Nets played on Long Island. I'm right in Roosevelt, man. Dr. J from Roosevelt. My dad would be like, so you following the little Nets or you sticking with the Knicks?
Hey, we got Eddie Murphy out here in Long Island too. Come on, Chucky, put Long Island on the map, man.
No, I did not put Long Island on the map. I stamped it and I said we were proud coming from Roosevelt. Murphy, I grew up with Murphy, man. I'm a grade older than him. Murphy used to knock on the door, man, like, look for my sister. I have to lie at the door for her. Like, she up there like, nah. And I'm like, damn, how you gonna just like say you you got to lie to the dude at the door, man. It's
your sister was curbing Eddie Murphy back in those days?
That's crazy.
She's curbing everybody. What? And let me tell you, Eddie Murphy's the smoothest dude. He been the same dude ever since he go to the park in shoes. He ain't playing no ball. He go to the handball court to talk to the girls. That's how smooth Eddie Murphy always was. Charlie was a thug. Charlie would tell jokes and have a gun in your mouth. It's like, I know these guys, man. Even the younger guy, Vernon. Vernon had a rap group, K9 Posse, man. I love those guys to death, man. And rest in peace, Charlie Murphy.
Man. Rest in peace, Charlie Murphy.
I mean, those,
for sure.
Yeah, oh man. I heard those Dave Chappelle stories, man, like 15 years before everybody else heard them. I was hearing those stories like forever, man. My man, big up to my man Ice Jason. He would come back off a tour and be like, man, tell me those stories. So later on, when Dave Chappelle tells these stories with Charlie, I was like, wow, finally, 20 years later, these stories come out. Yeah, so that's how life works. Yeah.
Talented family, man.
Yeah. Chuck, I know you went to art school. Of course, we had a little behind the scenes.
Yeah, I got a couple of degrees hanging on that wall out there.
Yeah.
They're my proudest achievement, along with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame trophy. So they're all on the same wall out there.
Nice.
Exactly. So I just want to know, like, I heard that you designed the logo for Public Enemy. It's like one of the best. It's like one of those logos as far as hip hop.
Iconic.
Still iconic.
Yeah. Well, it was meant to be iconic. Yeah, it was meant to be iconic. I mean, from the drawing stage, it's like minute one. Yeah. What we did back in the day, man, Hank and I used to throw gigs around Long Island, and Long Island was known for like a rock bands in there, but they have to leave Long Island. And so the rock bands wouldn't let rap in their clubs. And every time we used to see bands, they all had logos. All the rock bands had logos. So Hank and I decided to say, we're going to give rap artists logos. And I used to make them for groups that didn't have them. And we had the best. Our Spectrum City, we had the best logos. So I made the logo for this fictional group that we put on the flyer. And when I started Public Enemy, I snatched it back. So, and I tell you something. How it's all relative here. You know, you saw last year the Brooklyn alternate jerseys.
Yeah, the Bed-Stuy ones.
Yeah, they were done by Eric Hayes, and Eric Hayes was the graphic designer that did our Bum Rush the Show, our first artwork. He's the guy that cleaned up the logo. He cleaned it up. I mean, to me, here's the logo. I'm gonna give it to you, so I'm bringing it 90%. But I ain't doing all that in a detail. And Eric cleaned it up, so that's how we're all related, man. The stories go a long way. And last year, Eric Hayes did the Brooklyn alternative, the BKLN unis. So full circle, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Go figure. Man.
Absolutely, man. Chuck, we know you're cutting close on time. Just want to ask a couple rapid fire questions. Your top 5 by position favorite players. You had to go point guard, shooting guard, small forward, all time. Who'd you say? Your 5.
Man, I'm not good at giving lists because you got Jordan, you got LeBron James, man, you got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you know, you got Bird, Magic Johnson, it's hard for me to give lists, man, because I cover such a span of time as a fan, man. So it's unfair. Same thing with MCs and rappers.
Yeah,
I don't give a top 5, man. I got a rotation of 100 up in there in my head. Kool Moe Dee did a book called "There's a God on the Mic." See, when everybody in hip hop and rap do a book, I'm usually the guy that's got to do the forward.
The forward, yeah.
Yeah, I do the forward, man. So Mo D had a list. Mo D was the first dude in rap that had a report card. So that along with pick and ball, I had to follow like Dr. J when I saw it was a program in Dr. J, and they asked Dr. J's top 5, and Doc said Elgin Baylor, Bill Russell. And then it was like, yo, so you're not going to put Jordan in there? And Doc said, look, you asked me for my top 5. Right? And it's hard, I guess, same thing with if you ask like John Sally, about Michael Jordan. He's like, I'm not all enamored. I competed against him, man. He's my peer. So I'm going to name my favorite when I was growing up. So me as just a fan, I mean, how could you not name Kareem?
Yeah.
How could you not name Bird, Dr. J, Magic and Jordan, and then LeBron? What? LeBron is like, hey, man, listen, LeBron been stopped these last 2 years, man. He got stopped last year because of a rare injury, and he got stopped this year because of everything, right?
Yep.
Right.
You can imagine in his head, man. You damn right he's gonna come out and make some social conscious statements. He's gonna come out and be mad on a lot of things just on GP. Yeah, Maverick, go out there and say that. Well, LeBron James did 8 years in a row of the finals, and the last 2 years have been a nightmare, not because of him.
Yeah.
So this is you give props to people like that because he's been amazing. That's amazing.
Gotta respect
and here's another thing we got to respect, whether we like it or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
The World Championship is a 2-year reign by a team in another country where basketball started. Whether we like it or not, the Raptors are still champions.
That's it. Gotta respect it, man.
Our division rivals who've been kicking our ass all century long. The
championship is higher than north of the border, man, for sure.
I'll drive away. Dog.
For sure.
So we got to pay attention to that, man. It's like the way they put that team together, man. Is just like it's amazing, man. It's amazing. And damn, we can't get our nose above water. So
trying, man. I hope Steve Mills was a better basketball player back in the day than he was an executive, Chuck. Because I don't know, man. We've been kind of set back. I know you don't want to, that's your boy from back in the days. You know what I mean?
Steve Mills, Doug Mills, those are my boys. I think if I have to say anything, he brought a lot of situations under the cap, and he brought players in that came to fix something. I don't know what happened. Everybody tried to act like Phil Jackson then has the hedge clippers. Phil Jackson brought in the hedge clippers, man. Steve Mills was running the Garden. He wasn't running the Knicks. This dude brought in the hedge clippers and started cutting like like high top fades, man.
Blindfolded.
Cass is blindfolded. Cass is getting out of the Nick barber chair like, yo, this dude gotta go, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and understand, I'm growing up. Phil Jackson, Marv Albert, here goes Phil the windmill, like, and then Phil Jackson became this basketball guru under Red Holtzman. But as with everything, man, sometimes, because you're good and you're great, sometimes you hit that dead road and some things gotta end, or you catch the L. He caught an L that we might not be able to get out of, man. I mean, we might get out of the pandemic quicker than losing seasons. So I mean, so whenever somebody throws something at Mills, I'm saying Mills ran the guard. He was like, he could get you in on a skating, maybe get you in a WNBA game and stuff like that. And then they say, okay, listen, come in the next. But he inherited a monster, man. He had a monster. I thought that the Knicks, when we had Woodson the first time around, what was wrong with that?
Ask Phil. You gotta ask Phil, man.
He wasn't Derek Fisher.
He wasn't this triangle coach. I don't know what Phil was trying to do, man.
And you know what? Here's a note that I bring this up to tell you how much a Knicks fan I am.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm at, 2,000 miles away, me and my dad would watch the Knicks, right? He in Atlanta, I'm West Coast. So I'll be like, all right, I ain't gonna talk to you. Stuff like that, like then we see something go on with the Knicks. My father be like, that poor Zingers, he needs to gain some weight, man, because he ain't gonna be around for long. He gonna get hurt. They're like, all right, Dad, all right. But coincidentally, on a note that was a note I couldn't bring up before, my dad passed the day that Derek Fisher got fired. Man.
Oh wow!
So I never could. Of course, I'm in a swirl after that.
Yeah,
but I could hear my dad that day, like, look, man, this dude. But it's a trip, man. It's a trip, So that's how long I've been a Knicks fan, to the point where it could really. I don't have my dad no more to go back and forth with the frustration. Mm-hmm, so I kind of like lived that through you guys without interjecting or interacting, man. But that's and I'm telling you, my dad sat me at his knee at 67. So we had like from 67 to 2016. I'll go figure out the math, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so in that replacement, seeing you guys also with the help of technology and social media, not having to wait always for something on TV to present the NBA and then get around to the Knicks, that on that high level, it's cool, but from the seat level, nothing could beat that, man, because you get the real of the real. And Spike has been inviting me to Knick games since the 80s, and I keep telling Spike, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna sit next to you in a Knick game, and we never have ever done it. But we're gonna catch up. My mom went to high school with Cal Ramsey, so I mean, for years I went. Last time I went to the Garden, and Steven brought me up, and I saw Cal Ramsey. He said, "Say hello to your mom," and all that. So I mean, we intertwined.
Intertwined, man.
Because I get it wherever I go. Cats be like, Knicks, and they expect me as a Knicks fan all of a sudden not to be a Knicks fan because we ain't winning. I mean that's some. To me, I think that's a millennial issue.
Nah, I can't do that. Yeah, we
don't
jump shit, man. We don't jump shit.
It's like, come on, man. Matter of fact, it's a beauty in coming up, man. It's a beauty in coming up. Like I would say this case in point. Looking across when the Pistons were coming up, couldn't you just see that? Because the Knicks were also finding our way, but the Pistons, they start coming up. They were playing in the Silver Dome, and they had Tripucka, and Isaiah came in there, and they start adding these little pieces, and Sally goes there from Georgia Tech, and Rodman comes out of nowhere, and Chuck Daly comes from the Sixers and the Cavaliers, and you just start seeing these pieces come in there, and we're like, whoa. They put something that seemed like out of nowhere. And then the Knicks were assembling ourselves, and with the Patino, and then with the Pat Riley. So these things don't happen overnight, but they happen with specific moves that also the fans could feel, man. But I said, man, it's not a beauty pageant playing in New York. And if it was, that was back then. In the future, it's only going to be a bigger microwave, man. It's going to be harder than ever. True. And I don't buy into that. Well, cats don't want to come to New York because of da-da-da. Nah, man. Because when you big in New York playing basketball and that Garden is set off, There ain't no other place.
Nothing,
And I
no place
played
like
all
it.
these places. I played every arena, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you. Garden, and I played the Garden 3 times, man.
Well, yeah. What was your favorite memory at MSG playing as an artist?
I got a few.
Okay.
One time I went there, it was just us and Anthrax.
Right.
And it was like, it was funny because all the fans, they burned seats. I'm like, this ain't going down. I mean, they burned seats. It was Megadeth. It was an all metal tour, man. It was like burning seats in the Garden. I'm like, what? I mean, a black person ain't getting away with lighting a match up in here. They were burning. Megadeth went on. They were burning seats, bro. Out in the Garden. I guess they say if they burn it down, all these fans can pay for it. But you know, a rap concert comes in there, man.
Yeah, you like, what's going on?
Yo, man, 87 Rebel Without a Pause comes out, man, and you know, the crowd at my rookie year looked like a giant pizza. So here I'm in New York. You getting drowned out by requests, and I got a whole section for cousins and all that. and the record was the hottest record in New York at that time. Mm-hmm. We set it off. Place goes bananas. Brooklyn is running through the aisles, turning cats upside down, ripping dookie earrings out of chicks' ears.
The stick-up kids are running through it.
Yo, man, it was the Latin Quarter that flew to 20,000, man. It was like, but we couldn't stop the song, man. So, another memory of the Garden, you know, we against 40 ounces, so I bring a bunch of, you know, like 8 MC, you know, Naughty by Nature, Queen Latifah, you go Ghetto Boys, bring them all in the Garden, and we did a rallying campaign, and I had the giant malt liquor bottle, man, and we desecrated and hung a Klansman in the Garden. So I mean, that's Public Enemy for you, man. And so yeah, my guys, man. I mean, seriously, they got stories to tell.
Yo,
it's like we are family. Trust me, I like family. We see family when it's time to get down. But it could be like a barbecue, bro. It could be like a barbecue. Yo, do you know, like me? Look, me, Flavor, and Dennis Rodman, post concert. Dennis Rodman was the voice of reason. Dennis was the voice of reason.
That's all you need to know right there.
Got Flavor and Dennis. And Dennis is explaining.
Dennis is the voice. That lets you.
That'll tell you, man. Yo. So I've had some times.
Oh man, yo, Chuck, did you mentor Busta Rhymes, right?
Mentored is not the exact word for them. We kind of gave them their names and we kind of gave them their blueprint. Yeah, I named Busta Rhymes off of a dynamic halfback who played for Oklahoma or Nebraska. There was a guy named Nebraska, the young guy called I Am Hip. But Busta Rhymes played for Oklahoma as a tailback in the 80s. And, you know, Busta's 5%er, man. You want to be Taheem. I'm like, bro, there's 12 million Taheems out there, bro. Take this name and run with it, bro, and don't look back. Yeah. So he begrudgingly took the name and ran and never looked back.
Never looked back, man.
Yeah, it's like, and he thanks me every day. I said, Busta, you have to thank me for the name. You got to grow into the name. You lived up to, I gave our other name. I gave other MCs names, too. They didn't live up to it. Busta lived up to his name. He's Busta Rhymes. He didn't see it the first day. They normally don't see it. Like Terminator X stared at me, man. I'm like, listen, this is good. This is better than Mellow D.
Yeah, right.
This is better than Mellow D.
He didn't see the vision.
If I could change my name, I would change it from Chuck D. But I could be the D here. You got to change that up, bro. We going into the middle to late 80s. So market yourself. Yes.
I always thought Split Star came about was because of, you know, Flavor Flav was to you guys. Was Split Star inspired by Flavor Flav? That whole formula comes from you guys? I always wanted to know that.
Yeah. Well, but the animation also is in Busta too. So Busta's also inspired with an animated way, especially in the videos. But we did that thing because we used to drive trucks around New York for moving furniture for my pops. And so I'm getting ready to go back to Spectrum City and make me a tape and for our radio shows, WBAU on Long Island at Delphi University. Mm-hmm. So we moving the furniture, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go back and make this promo tape for the show and all that, because we didn't have enough rap records. So they would think that these were records, the way that we created these songs, these commercials drops. And that was out of the James Brown, Bobby Bird vernacular. You know, James Brown, everybody over there, get on up. Everybody over there, get on up. Also, Code Money and the great Schoolie D had a record called PSK, and also Gucci Time was the B-side. And on Gucci Time, Code Money, who's the DJ, is talking to Schoolie, and that's how they led in there. So Code Money is setting up Schoolie. He's talking, Schoolie talking to him. He's talking about, yeah, they some suckers, and then go right into the song. So I said, yeah, that's what you do, Flavor. You be that, lead me in the song, stay out of the way, come back in, and we got the end of this tape, man. It's making a point, and we get BAU on the map. So that's how it was.
Up, man.
Flavor Flav invented the role of hype man. There's no duplicate. He's only been imitated, never ever duplicated. The buck stops and starts with him. It's only one. And you know, if y'all might have heard about the Flavor Flav Chuck D beef, listen, man. At the end of the day, there's one dude in charge. I don't know if I could put a Last Dance together, but seriously. If I did, it would be just as entertaining. Trust me.
I believe it.
Trust me. But I'm like, he's my dude. But dude, this ain't gonna work if you don't work. And I'm always on him about work. Listen, if you're gonna work, if you want to work, then we gonna work, and we gonna work. So yeah, you know, somebody could get embedded in their lawyers and their business teams, and that's cool. But I said, if you do it the wrong way, I'm gonna sit you down and talk to you the same night and bring you back. And that's what that's about. I will sit you down and bring you back. Because at the end of the day, man, it's about the team. This is a bunch of us, and we all got to roll together. You might be the star, but it ain't gonna work with you alone, and it ain't gonna work with me alone. So if you're going to work, you got to at least be Pippen. You got to be Pippen and Jordan. I mean Pippen and Rodman.
Yeah.
No, my bad. Pippen and Rodman.
As
in
you
that
said,
conversation, in Public Enemy's conversation, there is one Jordan there. So, duh. So that's how you got. I mean, although I like to say that I'm more like Isaiah into the Pistons. So that's that. So yeah. So anyway, enough bulk in that. But that's where that comes from. Flavor's the best in the world. He's producing an album right about now. And we're releasing an album hopefully on my birthday on August 1st. And also Griff's birthday, called Nothing's Quick in the Desert, with 6 additional cuts. And State of the Union is one of those songs. And like I said, I mean, I'm about looking at young energy, but I curate hip hop every week on And You Don't Stop, which is my show that goes through Pacifica for 11 years in a row. And Rap Station has 10 station channels dedicated to curating rap. We got an all-woman station called C Radio. And y'all out there in the crowd right now, Knicks Fan TV and Nick of Time, go to rapstation.com/app, and it'll tell you everything from that point on. So we create our own, apps instead of being victim to what all the social media platforms are doing. Like, it works for sports, but when you're taking what you're seeing happen, when you start seeing DJs go into their social media and playing a set, man,
get clipped.
No, you get clipped because publishing companies and licensing operations want to stop that. And then also you got Spotify and all these things that people get the music through, and that is tightly controlled.
Got to do your own thing.
D Nice had a relationship with Instagram which cleared the music that he was going to play. Everybody else with a DJ set, you will be notified and shut down. So what we do at Rap Station, we build our own system. So, we not one hack away. All the big other situations, they're one hack away. We're not one hack away. So, because we're small and we're stealth. So there's a lot of things to learn. You could get in where you fit in. It's a beautiful thing. And we learn from the world of sports. And like I told you before, CP, and I say JLs, is that I learned from you guys' ability to understand your ability to work with the technology, get it to work in futuristic ways, have a fan base that stays loyal and connected to y'all and staying integrated with them. You know, a lot of small movements add up to a general population movement, which is a good thing going forward for the love of the game, a fan of the team. So the big situation can't take care of people as well as y'all take care of them, you know? Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, the MSG as a broadcast network got to do broadcasting.
Right.
Y'all could be, y'all very specific, man. Y'all going peer to peer, one-to-one, engaging with the fan base, even being able to have disagreements on a one-on-one. Big situations don't have time for that.
Yeah.
So there's a need and a necessity for this to be a full community of interaction because it all adds up. It makes me feel close as a fan. I mean, I can't rely on just, you know, the MSG to be the fan alone and catch it when I catch it. You know, this is a beautiful thing, and it's sort of new. So this is it's a great thing, and I always see it getting bigger. And I also see other cities having their fan bases and their teams, although it ain't gonna be as fly as y'all. So I mean,
never.
I mean,
hit
really,
that thumbs up button for your boys.
I don't think the Sacramento Kings will bring the seat, heat, man.
Kings fan TV might not be hitting that hard, Chuck.
Nah, even the Clippers ain't hitting, man. The Clippers ain't. I mean, trust me, I go everywhere and I see the fan bases. I mean, you go to Indiana. And the Pacers fans who've been there since Mel Daniels and Roger Brown and all those ABA days, they a little bit like, you know, all those old ABA teams are like, yo, right. But a lot of these teams got Johnny-come-lately flighty fans, man. They shake their heads when they look at a Knicks fan, and they shake their heads and blame me for being on some arrogant New Yorkish. So I'll be like, well, so that's just what it is, you know.
Absolutely, man. Well, Chuck, man, we have so much more we want to talk about, but you got to run, man. But as I said, we appreciate it.
I'm in the back. You guys know I'm in the back. I don't like to bring myself in front. It's about the fans' voice, man. It's about their voice, and they all be having me cracking up. And when I see fans up there pop up the statements, I'll be like, "Yep, go get them." Man. So, yeah, man.
We got Ari. We got Ari ready to check in on everything.
Yeah, tell Ari what's up, man, and all that, man. So I'm gonna move to the side like they tell OGs, yo, OG, sit your ass down, man. So I said, now I'm gonna sit down. No, JL, I'm gonna sit my ass down.
Now you welcome here.
I know I'm welcome, but sitting is a fantastic thing, man. I took the year off, dog.
Absolutely.
Salute to y'all, man.
Chuck, thank you so much again for the time, and we'll talk. Enjoy. Have a happy birthday as well, man. Have a happy 60th as well, Chuck.
Word, happy 60th. Big.
I'm a month away, so you know we counting the days. We count the days in these unpredictable times. So thanks a lot, y'all.
Absolutely.
Peace out.
Chuck D. So to everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up button for your boys.
Thumbs up button for your boys.
Another epic interview. JL is salute again to the icon Chuck D. Let me get you in here. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Let me just sift through here and get JL on here. All right, man. So much we had to talk to him about, J. Ellis. You know what I mean? This got to come across on multiple shows, man. It can't be just one, bro.
Yeah, this is like a 12-parter.
Yeah. It can't be just one with Chuck D, man. He's got too much knowledge, man.
It's too much. Yo, we had questions we didn't even get to.
Yeah, a ton, man. But no, we definitely appreciate the OG for sliding through, man. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, man. Some point where the activism came up, it didn't even click to me that he kind of grew up to the 60s, but it all makes sense why he came up, you know, why he made songs like Fight the Power and stuff, because he grew up during that civil rights movement. So
right,
that kind of stuck out to me. It's weird hearing like an icon say, yo, I learned from you guys. That is weird.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I mean, you know, it's a generational thing. And I think we all, you know, we have to learn from Gen Z. We as millennials have to learn from Gen Z. I mean, if you think about it in a sports context, you know, the Gen Z, that generation, they don't consume sports in the similar fashion that we do, right? This is how you have the rise of a House of Highlights and all the clips and highlights is everything now because attention spans are shorter. The way they consume everything is shorter. This is why you have the rise of the Snapchats and the TikToks and the Rick Rocks, whatever the case. It's just because of those generational shifts.
Yeah, we gotta learn from all the generations and put all that knowledge to build something.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, like he said, think about the time when he came up, the assassinations. You had the assassination of Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, RFK. You had the Vietnam War. That's a crazy time, man. Imagine we came up during that time, man. Yeah. I mean, listen, it's a difficult time right now, but those days, we've certainly made some progress, man, and way more to go. But those were epic times in terms of game changing moments in our history.
Exactly. That time, man, that for Black people in general, that was a time where we made a huge leap in progress.
Yeah.
In terms of just that move towards equal rights. Still not completely there, but that was a huge time, and he was there for that. So it's crazy.
He was there for it. And you think about, there was a lot more education around being socially conscious and knowledge of self. And he spoke about going to Adelphi University, Hofstra University was the same thing. They had those, they would bust the kids in, free breakfast, all of that. And then you would learn, African history and African studies and again, really, really gain that knowledge of self. So those times it was, like he said, from James Brown on, it was on in terms of your pride and carrying that forward in your message.
Exactly. And even the way he kind of moves with us, CP, like he bigs us up a lot.
Yeah. A lot. Well, remember when me and you went to the game? We went to one game and we was strategizing, like, should we do the podcast thing, do the video thing, so on and so forth. I was like, stay with the video. I was like, you just never know who's gonna be watching. Yeah. Right. As soon as we walked through the metal detectors, it was like the NYPD was like, "Yo, I love your show." Go upstairs. There's another person like, "Love your show. Here's some drinks, whatever." You just never know. And then shortly after that, he sends out a tweet on Twitter, and that was like, let us know that he was tuning in. And so, the support's been there ever since, and definitely appreciate it.
Definitely appreciate it, man. And is that time period was everybody lifting everybody up. That was that era when that's what they did. And salute to Chuck D, OG.
Salute to the OG.
Continuously shouts us out on Jacoby, on wherever he goes. And
true.
She just continues to shout us out. So
true story. True story, man. Let me salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. A couple super chats that come in. Mr. Durante sends us a super chat. He says, thank you for supporting people like CP and J Ellis. Oh, this is for Chuck D. But will you do another masterpiece basketball soundtrack like He Got Game? One of my favorite movies for sure. Or something else in that manner. PE and D Rule. Blessings to Chuck D. Salute to Mr. Durante. He Got Game was one of my favorite movies. Salute to Spike as well. So much we wanted to cover with Chuck, man. Just you can't get it all in one.
Yeah, we didn't even get to half like Flame. And
yeah. We didn't even get to the half. Salute to Shells Heavy. Salute to Shells. He says CP and JL are our Clyde Frazier and Pearl Monroe. Knicks Fan TV joined the movement. Hey, Shells been rocking with us since day one, man. Shells has been rocking with us since day one. So appreciate Shells for that for sure. Marlon LaCroix sends us his $5 super chat, says keep up the great work. Salute to Marlon and salute to Black Bolt. I'm trying to read the comment here from Black Bolt. He says, Chuck dropping dimes. What a surprise show. Yeah, man. Chuck has definitely been dropping dimes and still working, J. Ellis. He talks about, moving to the side, but he got an album coming out. They just dropped a single. Yeah. They had the Fight the Power remix, Nas, Black Thought. I was going crazy when I seen all of them together Sunday night. So that was a pleasant surprise as well.
For sure. And truth be told, like, he's an artist too. Like, for those people who are artists, because I am an artist who went to art school as well. Artists don't like to be in front of the camera, CP.
Yeah.
They actually don't like to be in front of the camera. So I could see why he's like, I don't like this stuff. But we need you. We need you in front of the camera sometimes to speak to the people. We have a wealth of knowledge and you've done so much. You need to be in front of the camera. So embrace that.
True story. Fritz in the chat, he shouted us out on Jalen and Jacoby, J. Ellis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Gotta appreciate that, man. Absolutely.
Gotta appreciate that, man.
Got to.
Gotta appreciate that.
Let's go to the phone, Jails. We got Josh from San Diego on the line. Has been waiting. Josh, how you feeling?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yep, loud and clear, bro. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, I just wanted to call in. First of all, I'm a big fan of the show. Congratulations on a great interview with Chuck D. He's a legend.
Thank you.
You guys keep up the good work.
Thanks, bro.
I wanted to talk about the Knicks coaching search. I've been hearing that the Knicks are, getting all these big names, and they kind of go after these big names. But I think that is a huge, huge mistake. Mm-hmm. I am an advocate for Mike Miller taking over this job on a permanent basis. The reason being is because last year, after the whole Fizdale situation, Mike Miller showed some things to show that he was able to properly develop players. And also, the Knicks are just not at the point yet where they need to make the sexy hire. They're not at that point yet where they need to go to the next level. If you look at the last 6 NBA champions between the Golden State Dynasty and then Cleveland and even Toronto, they had, coaches that got them to one point, and then they hired a new coach to take them to the next level. Dwayne Casey, 2-time coach of the year, gets fired. Nick Nurse comes in. Of course, Kawhi coming helps a lot, but they were able to get over the hump. Mark Jackson, we all know what a phenomenal coach he was. He got fired after he developed those players, and then they got Steve Kerr, took them over the hump. Cleveland had David Black. That's a different story. But my whole point is, I think Mike Miller, the Knicks are just not at the point right now where they need to go out and make a fancy hire someone to come in, and then the expectations are going to grow just because we have that sexy hire. And the Knicks are still not going to win anyway for another 3-4 years until they get a superstar.
And that guy gets fired.
I'm a big advocate for Mike Miller. I'm not sure how you guys feel about that.
And that guy gets fired in 2 years. He has a point, JLs, and appreciate the call, Josh. Salute to San Diego as well, West Coast. Somebody had made that point a while back. I forgot who it was, but I hear those points of people's concern with the splash hire, mainly Tibbs, really. Yeah. Because with that comes the expectation that he's going to be a miracle worker.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, I've said this on the show before. Mike Miller already has kind of a rapport with these guys, systems in place. These players already know what to expect from Mike Miller and already know what to work on. So a consistency in voice with some of these young players, I think will be a good thing. Frank already knows he has to work on paint touches because he already told him. Knox already knows he has to work on defense because Mike already told him. Just keep going in that direction, and I think to me it would be fine. Like, to me it's Mike, Kenny, and then everybody else after that.
Yeah, I don't think that he's gonna get it. Maybe they keep him in the organization in some capacity. I don't think he's gonna get the job. I think they're interviewing way too many candidates for him to be the front runner. I highly doubt he gets it. But maybe they keep him in the organization. We did hear real quick news that had come across today was that they're considering building another bubble site in Chicago for the 8 non-Orlando teams to go. Now, on the conference call today, were 7 teams. The Knicks skipped it because they were in the middle of interviewing Jason Kidd and Will Hardy from San Antonio. But what all the beat writers are saying is that the Knicks are not too thrilled with the idea of doing that.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I mean, to be expected, half of these guys on this roster right now probably, might not be here next season. So if I'm a free agent, why am I going to risk, my health and well-being to play for a team who might not have me in a few months? Like, it's just too much risk to play. So I'm not, I wouldn't be surprised if they accept this.
And plus, you got to think that, number one, the free agents on the non-guarantees, right? On the non-guarantees, all the free agents that you brought in, none of those guys are going to play. And the Knicks wouldn't let them play because they have no idea in terms of business how they're going to proceed with these guys. So you wouldn't even have them. Now, it would be good to get, RJ some run, Iggy together. Maybe Kenny's hand is healed up. Maybe Kenny
call up the G League squad.
Knox, that'd be a nice. I'd be into that. We could get some post game lives going in September.
I would definitely be into having like the young Knicks with the G League Knicks.
Yeah,
and covering that. I would be ecstatic to watch that.
I would watch that for sure.
That's what we wanted anyway.
Yeah, that's what we wanted. That's what we wanted. So I don't know. It seems like the Knicks are not too enthused about it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. But one person we got to get to, Jay Ellis. When it was announced that ISO Zoe would be departing the Knicks, our friend Ari was on a date, Jay Ellis. He did not call in. The fan base was waiting to hear from Ari from Manhattan.
Wait.
Yeah.
Ari was on a date?
Ari was on a date, bro.
While ISO Zoe is being cut from he was on a date.
Yep.
Ari, I'm sorry, Ari. There are things that are more important than this date. You should have been on.
Ari, talk to us, man. Talk to us, man. The floor,
Hey,
the floor
you guys
is
can hear
yours.
me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
All right. First of all, that was an awesome interview, man. Chuck D's obviously a real fan. You could tell by the way he talks, and he obviously really respects you guys a lot. And you could tell he watches the show because I'm still kind of in shock he shouted me out. So CP the finger painter, if you're watching, just know that Chuck D shouted me out, bro. So
Yeah, there's been some side beef
right
going
now.
on between
So-
CP the artist and
The
Ari
finger
as well,
painter?
man. Yeah, there's been some beef. There's been some DM beef between Ari and CP the artist. So we could have a battle of the fans brewing.
Oh my god.
I mean, come on, I just got endorsed by Chuck D, man. Who does he have endorsing him? Surge? I made that dude also. But whatever, forget about that. So I was on a date with ISO Zoe, and I watched the rerun, obviously, and I was looking at the chat, and, there's a couple myths I just want to get straightened out with regards to this ISO Zoe stuff. Scandal, first of all. This is a scandal, okay?
Yeah.
And I want to just dispel some myths right now, okay? So, the first thing about that he plays no defense, right? Nobody on the Knicks plays defense besides Frank or Mitch. Nobody, okay, besides Frank or Mitch, all right? Julius Randle plays even worse defense. Kevin Knox plays worse defense. Bobby Portis plays no defense. And I just don't understand why there's always a double standard with ISO Zoe where it's like everyone else gets a pass, but ISO Zoe doesn't get a pass, right? It's like, I find it ridiculous. Everyone points out his lack of defense, but they don't point out the lack of defense for anyone else. I think that's ridiculous, okay? Second of all, what player doesn't have flaws in their game? Like, Frank can't score. He's probably the worst offensive player in NBA history. Well, I know not last year or the year before that, I think he had statistically one of the worst shooting years of any guard or starting guard in history, right? And no one gives him any problem about that. But people are going to, castigate ISO Zoe like he's some cancer because, he can create his own shot and, he doesn't pass the ball as much as, other people. But they don't say anything about Julius Randle when he turns the ball over 100 times, right? Here's the facts. We don't have any scoring on this team. That dude is instant buckets, all right? The fact that we let him go to sign someone, and I swear to God, dude, I didn't even know this dude, Theo Pinson, was in the league. I didn't know who he was, bro. And then someone told me that he's the dude on the bench with the cornrows who's doing the Tekashi 6ix9ine dance when they score a basket, and he's like a cheerleader. And we basically traded him. We basically let ISO Zoe go for him, who I didn't even know existed. I just think it's I think it's disastrous. I think it's absolutely pathetic. If you didn't want to keep him on the team, you should have at least traded him and got something for it, all right? Or packaged him with something else.
That's fair.
Letting him go for that is just atrocious. And here's what my real thing is about, right? I don't think this is a Leon Rose thing. I think this is a James Dolan thing, honestly, with this ISO Zoe thing, because it's too shady, man. Anyone who knows basketball knows that creating your own shot, getting your own bucket, and, he had a great rookie year, and he got no playing time. It doesn't make any sense. It's not like he didn't get 10 minutes a game, 15 minutes a game. He didn't play at all. Okay, so it makes me think that there's something, and it was like that with Mike Miller. It was like that with David Fizdale, and it was like that with Leon Rose and Steve Mills and everybody. So I think it's a James Dolan thing, and personally, I think that James Dolan, and I'm just going to say it, man. I think James Dolan thought ISO Zoe had the plug with Kevin Durant, and I think he knew that he was spending all this time with KD, over the summer, and when KD went to Brooklyn, he thought ISO was out, and he basically had.
Nope, lost him. He was so passionate, we lost him. I didn't.
And
oh, there you go.
The last thing I want to mention. The last thing I want to mention real quick is that this thing about patience, right? Like, we have to have patience, right? That argument we got in last time. If we had more patience, David Fizdale would still be the coach of this team, okay? Phil Jackson still might be here, right? The fact that we don't have patience is what at least gives us an opportunity to start again and at least try to build something new. So I think the lack of patience is actually a good thing in the long run. But, you know, overall,
depends.
man, I'm just appalled by the ISO thing, and I think it's an inside job, and, you know, I just don't like people blaming Knicks fans for things, and I think it's ridiculous. And if you want to come at me saying I'm sensitive and I'm soft or whatever, you know, I don't even know who you are, dude. So, you know, you can think about me as much as you want. I don't know who you are, bro. So, you know, I sleep well, bro, all right? So that's all I have to say.
Ari, man, peace. Ari from Manhattan, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's unpack this real quick, JLs.
That's a lot. That's a lot of baggage.
Okay. On the flaws thing, he's right. Not a lot of guys on this team play defense well.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
at the 2 position in particular, though,
Yeah.
is the only place where the people do actually play defense. And I think, I'm not saying that's why Trier was cut, but at the 2 position, like, even Wayne is as bad as he is.
Yeah. Try. Yeah.
He actually puts in effort and plays pretty good team defense if you look at him.
Dot, so, Frank.
Yeah.
Maybe a little RJ.
So, but that's what I will say about that. But the 2 position in general, though, we stacked that position so much.
Yeah.
That I felt like he was dead on arrival.
Yeah, well, I think he was a victim of his own success. You know, the successful rookie year is what got him a contract. But when you factor in the free agents, they stacked the deck on him. And you factor in the fact that they're going to owe him at least $4 million next year. On top of the fact that they're going to go get a point guard in the draft or free agency or via trade come hell or high water. They're not going to pay Isozo $5 million, JLs, to be one of the last people on the bench. Unfortunately, should he have got more playing time this season? Absolutely. I think so. Flaws and all, they should have been playing him. Because let's be honest, our guards were absolute garbage. And I would have been playing him I would have been giving him way more opportunities than I was giving DSJ. Even though I want to see DSJ succeed.
They got caught in between. Like, that was the biggest flaw from last season, was the way we built this team. We just had too many veterans that they were trying to commit to. So then it's like you have Ellington plus Dotson plus Frank playing the 2 sometimes plus
Peyton.
Plus Peyton. I ain't getting to the point. I'm still talking about the 2s.
Okay, well, yeah.
Bullock. And it's like they didn't sign all these veterans to sit them. So it just seemed like the plan from the jump was flawed. And like I said before, like ISO was already kind of freezed out from the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And because of that, we couldn't even move him for a decent package.
There's too much money.
Yeah, like we couldn't, like it would have been okay, like Ari said, to like at least move him and get something in return.
Yeah.
But by the time the end of the season rolled around, he didn't play any. He had no playing time. Yeah. So like there was no value. So he essentially cut him to save money because they realized that he has no value at this point because they didn't play him the whole season.
They didn't play him at all. So listen, I agree. I look at him as a young Lou who hasn't really figured it out just yet. Wish him luck, bro. You know what I mean? I was a fan of his when he came in and came onto the scene. He played well for us from summer league into last year. Almost hit that 50, 40, 90 slash line. Absolute buckets, as Ari said. But I think that's what ended up hurting him in the long run, because at $4 million, when you're looking at the talent that you're looking to bring in at his position this next season, there was no way they were going to keep him there.
Yeah.
There was no way they were going to keep it there.
You kind of saw it coming.
Yeah.
It's still shocking because you know Usually when players get cut, it's like, all right, well, he was a scrub, whatever. Yeah. ISO had talent. Like whether you're on the side of, this guy, doesn't pass enough or doesn't play defense. I don't think we ever really just straight out wave a guy who had that much talent.
There's a role for him somewhere. He's got to figure it out. Clean up his attitude a little bit. There was some attitude, finger pointing from sources that I spoke to. We don't want to bury the kid's character. He's still a young kid, but hopefully, he learns from the situation. But it's just the ugly side of the business. We talked about that with the various players that we spoke to in past interviews, how the business can do you, man. Look at what it did to Felton, who signed the deal 50 games in, he's gone. It's just like Langston Galloway same way. Like what happened when he went from he signs with his hometown of the Pelicans. Boom, he shipped off to the Bay Area. Like
exactly.
Sometimes the business is just cutthroat in that way, man. Definitely. And he's still, Langston's still having a good career, still playing well for the Pistons, but that's sometimes it's just how you become a victim of the business, man. It is what it is,
Absolutely, yeah. I'm sure ISO's gonna be fine though. I'm going to wait and hope he doesn't kill us too much when he plays it.
Hopefully not, man. Yeah, man. But good show, JLs. Let's go ahead and sign out, man.
All right, salute to everybody. Latest episode of the Nick and Time Show is up. YouTube.com/Nick and Time Show. Definitely a good episode. We talk about, of course, ISO Zoe. And we also talk about, we signed a new guy. What's his name? Harper from the Suns. But we also have Lamar Pierce. We also talk about him and Lamar Pierce together. So definitely check out that episode. Pretty cool episode. Also check out the blog at thenickandtimeshow.com to watch our latest blog episodes, writings. Shout out to Ken, shout out to Chris, who write a lot for us. And check out the merch as well. And get your Knox tees, your RJ Barrett tees, and all that stuff. That is all. Back to you, C.
Yes, sir. Great show, JLs. And appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. It was an epic show tonight, man. We got a exclusive conversation, a history lesson, some guidance. From the OG Chuck D, man. I just felt like it, in these times, you needed to hear that. It was a timely interview, and we definitely appreciate Chuck for gave us an hour, JLs. That's more than we could ask for. So we definitely appreciate Chuck for coming through and blessing us with some wisdom. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. You know the protocol. These shows are available in audio podcast format: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Amazon Alexa, and Google Play. One more quick thing. As I show the Mitch Please T-shirt. Knicks Fan TV was in the papers again today, JLs. Sometimes you wake up overnight and things just start happening, man. So
yeah,
I wake up. Let me just get my screen right. So I wake up and shout out my guy David Fudenick out in Cali. So he sends me, Mitch is rocking the Mitch Please t-shirt, and I guess he must have posted it on his Snapchat or TikTok, whatever one of those things that these kids are using nowadays. So Daily Knicks retweets it on Twitter. Then David Fudenick @s me and Spencer Dinwiddie, because as you see in the picture, the new Mitch Please t-shirt, we swapped it out. We swapped out the DSJ lookalike, who was really Courtney Lee, but no, it was really DSJ, but whatever. So we threw in Dinwiddie, and so now David @s me and Dinwiddie. So now Dinwiddie claps back with the retweet and says, "I would have put him on a shoe, but I'm going to need him," meaning Mitch, "not to lead the league in fouls before I do that." So another troll job by Spencer Dinwiddie, as he loves to do with the Knicks all the time. He got a little tight.
How many times have we beat them this season?
Well, we did the last game, RIP to Kobe. That was the Kobe game. What was it, 2 out of 3?
I think so. I
don't remember. I gotta double check.
We made the playoffs, but I think we won.
We did lose that first game when Kyrie hit RJ with the step back.
He did.
I think we beat him twice at the Garden. I don't remember.
I feel like we beat him more times than he beat us. I feel like that.
So Dinwiddie comes out with that. Now all of a sudden, Bondi, I guess, had nothing to write today, so he throws it in the Daily News talking about Spencer Dinwiddie responds to Mitchell Robinson's T-shirt, saying it should have been on shoes. So we ended up in the New York Daily News today.
There you go.
There you go. There you have it, man. So once again, salute to everybody for all the support. Salute to Mitch for always repping the brand. Of course, you can get yours in the link down below, man. The Mitch Please t-shirts are always a dope seller. So if you want to support the show, you want to support the Block Nest Monster, go ahead and grab your Mitch Please joints right below this video. Funny stuff, man. Funny stuff. Mind your business, you end up in the Daily News jails. You know what I mean? Now, Dinwiddie says he wants it on a shoe. So you might have to have the Air Mitch Pleases dropping in 2021. We'll see, man. I'll talk to Mitch. Man. See if we want to do a sneaker deal.
I think that's in the works.
You know? See if you want to do a sneaker deal, man. But anyway, who you want to shout out in your chats, man? Before we get out of here.
Oh, man. Shout out to Rich always putting me down. Shout out to you, Hinton Mercury, Rich M. Craig Williams, the super chat. I'm sorry. I forgot. Craig Williams had a super chat file. Fantastic. Another great show, fellas. Hit that thumbs up button for your boys and have the hashtag PG. So shout out to you, Craig Williams. Yo, Nuggy Fresh in Nuggy Fresh in the building. Shout out to you. Elixir Flow, shout out to you. Edward Starling, shout out to you. Shout out to everybody. TV. I saw Alex jump in here. John Talento, Kevin King. Everybody. Shout out to
sure. Shout out all the mods. Alex Collins all the way in Ireland. Go to sleep. Dave, appreciate it. Knicks Fan TV, Jared, appreciate it. TM, Rome, Pranav, John Talento, Ken Scott, Above the Rim, always appreciate it. Everybody have a great holiday weekend. We'll check back in with you guys. Pete Cruz, appreciate it. And be safe, man. We out of here. Hit that thumbs up button.